And just nudge it 6. Sick! Welcome back to the channel. I'm EasyP40. Today we are finally going to go over the Black Ops 2 weapon ranking. So for those that don't know, when I do these weapon videos, I usually have all the stats and information available via Wikipedia. However, the headshot multipliers that are usually available were not available on the Wikipedia for Black Ops 2 weapons, nor were they available anywhere else on the internet from the constant research that I did. So in order to determine the headshot damage of these weapons, I had to grab each and every weapon and figure out their one-shot capabilities and tendencies throughout the game with each and every weapon in Black Ops 2 Zombies. So this is why the list took ages to compile, because I had to do this for all 47 weapons. And doing that and trying to get them out of the box and trying to get them really early on in the game and on specific maps, it's very, very difficult to do, and that's why it took ages to do. So I've kind of been working on and off for the Black Ops 2 weapon ranking for about 3.5 months now. Not just weapon testing, but also just kind of the research that I've been doing and just all that kind of stuff. It's been a very hard process, but we're finally ready to get this done. But that's why this video it took ages to do. It took a lot of time and took a lot of energy. Also, if I sound a little weird in this video, I do apologize. I did catch the flu last week, and I'm still trying to kind of recover, so bear with me a little bit if you can. In the little weapon cards that you're going to see in the videos that you usually do for the weapon rankings, you're going to see the headshot damage have an asterisk next to the number. The reason for that is because that's the unofficial headshot damage that I myself gave the weapon. It may not be the correct one, it may not be 100% accurate, but it's going to be either 100% accurate or really, really darn close, because there is no official headshot damage that is listed anywhere for these Black Ops 2 weapons. So all the numbers that I gave, it is about 95 to 100% accurate. It's very, very close if it's not fully correct, but just know that's about as close as we're going to get. You're not going to find any of these other stats anywhere on the internet, just so you know. So if you're looking for headshot damage for these weapons, this is the only place at this moment that you are going to be able to find it. Let's just go ahead and get the criteria out of the way. Number one, we are primarily going over the pack-punch versions of these weapons. The unpack-punch versions don't really matter that much. Number two, double pack-punch of any kind is banned, whether that's in BO3 or BO4. Again, I will be ranking all of these into one video at some point, and BO3 and BO4 have alternate ammo types. Those will not be allowed at all. Double pack punch of any kind just is not allowed for this. Number three, double tap of any kind is also banned because Black Ops 2 and 3 have double tap 2.0. It's not fair to compare those two games and their double tap 2.0 counterparts to 1.0. It's just not fair because those guns will be far superior. Number four, attachments are banned unless they come with the weapon by default. Number five, some guns may be disqualified if they fit into an abnormal category or if they do not have a pack punch variant. So if a gun can't be pack punched, immediately it's just not going to make the list. Also, if a gun fits into a sort of an abnormal category, then it's just not going to be included in the list. But also, some weapons may be considered special weapons that are actually considered regular weapons by most people. For example, I made the flamethrower from World at War a special weapon. I put it into that category because I feel like it fits more into a special weapon category than a regular weapon category. So the flamethrower did not make it into the World at War list. Number six, performance in the high rounds is primarily what we're looking at. Some of the other factors that we're going to take into account are the damage, the ammo, the rate of fire, the mobility, the reload speed, the recoil, the accuracy, and the ability to save you, and the ability to earn points. Number seven, wall weapons do not have any kind of advantage unless two guns are similar and one of them is a wall weapon. In these lists, you will not see much of an advantage for all of the wall weapons. We're mainly just looking for the better performing weapons. Number eight, all of the wonder weapons and the special weapons are disqualified. Number nine, we are looking at this primarily from a solo perspective, not really a co-op perspective, although co-op does matter a little bit. We are more so looking from the solo perspective. If you watch the Black Ops 1 ranking, you would know that each game or each Black Ops game is going to have a specific ban for it because it usually has some type of exclusivity to it. For Black Ops 1, for example, it had PhD Flopper, which I know PhD Flopper kind of appears on and off in other games, but it mainly appears in Black Ops 1, and it got banned from that list. It's going to be banned from all of the lists just in general because Double Tap 2.0 is off the list for the regular guns. PhD Flopper is not going to be there to help the explosive weapons either. That's going to be for all the lists, including this one as well, even though PhD Flopper is not that apparent in Black Ops 2. The exclusivity that Black Ops 2 contains is the permaperks. Permaperks are going to be banned for this list, if that wasn't obvious enough, because it gives off a lot of bonuses, headshot damage, explosive effects, all this kind of stuff. We're not going to have perks involved in this list whatsoever, so you're not going to hear me bring those up at any point. There's going to be a total of 45 weapons. There was 47. However, 2 of those weapons are banned, and 3 of them are kind of just the same gun, but with attachments. The 3 guns that are banned with attachments are the AK-74U with extended clip, the MP40 with adjustable stock, and the B23R with the extended clip. Those 3 weapons are in the box in Origins. They're the same thing as their regular counterparts, just with an attachment. The 2 weapons that we are going to have banned for this list in particular that are unique to themselves: the ballistic knife, which was banned in the Black Ops 1 list, and the Mauser. The Mauser, the reason it was banned, and I actually banned this in the Black Ops 3 ranking, even though that was under a slightly different criteria. The Mauser doesn't shoot regular bullets. It falls into that category of it being more like a wonder weapon than an actual regular weapon, because the way it shoots lasers, which it's more like a ray gun than it is like a regular weapon. It is more comparable to that of like the ray gun Mark II than it is to a regular weapon, and it's why it's not included in this list. I'll go over more on the ballistic knife and the Mauser a little bit later, but just know that you will not see them in the list at any point. All right, let's get to the list. So there's a lot of legendary weapons in Black Ops 2, a lot of weapons that get made fun of. And with all of the jokes aside, the last place spot in this list at number 45 is the B23R. Surprisingly, I don't think a lot of people saw this coming, but this gun sucks. It's a good point weapon on Pack-a-Punched. It's nice to have on transit because of its wall-by location. But Pack-a-Punched, this thing is absolutely atrocious. Its damage is so low that you're going to stop one-shotting within the first 4 or 5 rounds, which is just absolutely just disgusting. The ammo in this thing is about 200 rounds, so overall, you're basically getting an unpack-punch Thompson from World at War when you pack-punch the B23R. It does become a fully automatic pistol, but honestly, the only thing I can say good about it is that it has a solid rate of fire. You're going to get through ammo really, really quickly through this, and it's not going to be useful at all for you at any point in the higher rounds. It's going to stop being effective in the teens, which is really, really bad. At number 44, I have the Cap 40, which is basically the same thing as the B23R, it just does a little bit more damage. Now, the Cap 40 is not a wall weapon, its box exclusivity means that it's harder to obtain, but the reason I have it ahead of the B23R is that it is definitely the better option in terms of its effectiveness. However, the B23R is much easier to obtain. It's got a good rate of fire, just like the B23R, but the damage is also extremely low, and the ammo, again, it's also extremely low. I don't recommend either of these pistols. These are by far the 2 worst weapons in the game, in my opinion. They are point weapons. They should stay as point weapons. Don't upgrade them. It's a waste of time. Number 43, I have the War Machine. And while I do see some people try to defend the War Machine, I also see a lot of people hate on the War Machine. I am on the side of not liking the War Machine. So with the War Machine, I'm going to compare it to the China Lake from Black Ops 1. They are very similar weapons in terms of their overall effectiveness and how they act. The 2 weapons that you see here, the China Lake and the War Machine, if you shoot their grenades too close, your character will be stunned and damaged. Usually with some explosive weapons, they just damage you, but these 2 weapons will stun you and damage you, making it harder to hear, harder to see, and harder to move. That's a big no-no for me. So in terms of the damage of the War Machine, if you think the China Lake damage sucks, what if I told you the War Machine was just as bad, if not worse? The War Machine's only upside to that of the China Lake is that the War Machine's rate of fire is much better, and the ammo is a little bit higher as well. So the way I see the War Machine in reality is that it's just the China Lake that just shoots a little bit faster. I don't recommend the War Machine. It's nice to use on transit if the zombies are on fire and you are far away from the zombies. You can find some use for it, alright? It's not the worst thing in the world, but it isn't very good. At number 42, we have the SMR. Probably the most made fun of gun in Black Ops 2 Zombies. Maybe just zombies in general, really. It's a memed on gun, but it's really not as bad as people say it is. It's not a great gun, don't get me wrong, it's pretty trash. The damage is extremely low, but the ammo is actually pretty good. It having the ammo that it does is why it's not lower on the list. That's comparative to the B23R and the Cap 40, because those guns have about 200 rounds while the SMR has over 400 rounds. And the SMR does just a little bit better damage. Some people complain about the inaccuracy of the SMR. Well, I feel like the inaccuracy is kind of bad. I feel like it gets a little bit better when you pack punch it. Also, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you're shooting zombies and it's just not doing as much damage as you thought it was. And so therefore you're thinking that you're actually missing the shots because it's not killing them, when in reality, it's just doing such a low amount of damage. At number 41, I have what I believe to be the worst shotgun in zombies history. That is the S12. Now, there are some people that like to defend the S12 and like to use the S12, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a very simple argument as to why you're incorrect. The S12 has the lowest damage of any shotgun in zombies history pack-punched, and it also has the lowest ammo of any zombies shotgun pack-punched in history. Those two things alone are immediately a red flag. The S12 fire rate isn't bad. You are going to kill a few zombies. The only problem is that you're just going to run out of ammo so freaking quickly, and you're not going to kill that many zombies. Like, yeah, sometimes in the earlier rounds you can do some good damage, but like look at this footage. Guys, it's round 10. Like, yeah, okay, it's fine, but for round 10, anything could be fine. Once you get to the 20s, you're gonna be useless with this S12. At number 40, we have the Olympia. The Olympia, again, it's not that great of a weapon. It wasn't that great of a weapon in Black Ops 1, and it still isn't in Black Ops 2. It's the exact same statistically in both games. The Dragon's Breath, which a lot of people claim is the reason why the Olympia is good, don't let that deceive you into thinking that the gun is good, because that is the number one thing. It's just a cosmetic sort of thing that makes the Olympia seem like it's good, but in reality, it's not. Don't use the Olympia. There's a lot of better weapons that you can use. Number 39, the Chickum CQB. Now, the Chickum is one of 3 weapons in Black Ops 2 Zombies that has 110% mobility. We had this sort of thing in Black Ops 1, and it's the same thing in Black Ops 2. The Chickum is one of these weapons that has 110% mobility. The second weapon is the ballistic knife. The third weapon we'll get into a little bit later. The Chickum CQB is a 4-round burst submachine gun that doesn't kill that badly. It actually kills kind of quickly, but the unfortunate thing about the Chickum CQB is the ammo is extremely low. The damage isn't that bad for an SMG, in all honesty. That's why it falls this low on the list. Number 38, I have the MP5. Now, the MP5 is very comparable to the MP5K from Black Ops 1. They are almost identical in terms of their effectiveness. However, the only difference between the two is that the MP5 from Black Ops 2 has 110% mobility. This is the third weapon I was talking about. The thing is, I don't really understand it because it really doesn't make sense how an MP5, which is supposed to be like a slightly bigger version of the MP5K, has more mobility. It doesn't really make sense, but I mean, it's a video game. I'm not going to overthink it. It's a point weapon, but don't pack punch it. You're not going to get any kills with this thing. It's about the same as the Chickum CQB. In terms of effectiveness, they're about the same, but I put the MP5 slightly higher because it's a wall weapon and it gets the wall gun advantage. At number 37, we have the Type 25, which is very comparable to the FAMAS from Black Ops 1. However, I think that the pack punched Type 25 is slightly better because it gets a little bit more ammo and a little bit more damage. It's not that much better than FAMAS, but it is just a tiny bit better. I hear a lot of people complain about it because the unpack punch version has a ton of recoil, and while it does, the pack punch version is fixed. Once you pack punch it, the recoil kind of goes away, and it's not that bad at all. So it's an okay gun, but you're going to run out of ammo really, really quickly with it. And number 36 is the M14. It's kind of unfortunate because this list does not include Double Tap 2.0. This gun feels so much better with Double Tap 2.0 in this game compared to Black Ops 1. But statistically, again, it's the same thing as the Black Ops 1 M14. And it's just going to be a solid point weapon early on. When you pack punch it, it's going to be all right. But again, it's going to be the same thing as the Black Ops 1 M14. Solid, nothing crazy about it. Number 35, I'm going to have the Remington shotgun here. This is very comparable to the Stakeout and the Trench Gun from World at War and Black Ops 1. This is the same damage, the same ammo. The only difference is that this shoots a little bit faster and it actually has less shells than those other two shotguns. The other two shotguns kill more consistently. I don't prefer the Remington shotgun over those two shotguns. It feels kind of weird to use it, so be careful when you're going to use this because sometimes you're not going to end up getting kills when you should. Number 34, I have the Barrett. It's kind of disappointing because the Barrett, I've always believed, should be an extremely powerful weapon in zombies. Although the damage is all right, the ammo for this thing is absolutely atrocious. This is the lowest amount of ammo of any pack-a-punch sniper rifle in zombies history. Even lower than the Kar 98 from World at War and the PTRS-2. That is absolutely atrocious. For a semi-automatic sniper rifle like the Barrett, it's really unfortunate because there's a lot of potential lying in this Barrett, but I just don't think they wanted this to be a good gun. They really screwed the Barrett over in this game. Number 33, I have the FAL. This is the same thing as the FAL from Black Ops 1. It is a slow rate of fire, 3-round burst, pack-punched weapon with good ammo and solid damage, but it is just so different from all the other weapons with how slow it shoots, and because of that, I just don't think it's that effective. Even though it is an incredibly efficient weapon, and you could definitely find some use for it, I don't recommend it above a lot of these other weapons. But maybe you like this kind of thing, that's up to you. Number 32, I have the M16. This is the same thing as the Black Ops 1 M16. It's a fully automatic assault rifle when upgraded with a noob tube attached to it. The noob tube shoots freaking toilet paper out of it. It doesn't do anything, don't use the noob tube. But the M16 in general is just a solid assault rifle that shoots at a fast rate of fire. It's a solid weapon to have on some of those Victus maps, but I think there's a lot of better weapons again. At number 31, I have the M8A1, which is the same sort of damage as the M16. The 4-round burst is fast enough to make it seem like it's fully automatic, and the ammo is very solid for the M8. So that's why I think the M8 is just a little bit better than the M16. At number 30 and number 29, we are going to go over the 5.7 and the dual-wield 5.7. Both of these weapons are just basic pistols, semi-automatic. They are very effective, and they're very similar to the CZ75 from Black Ops 1 in terms of their damage and overall just the way they act. The rate of fire is slightly better, but their ammo is slightly lower. So I do think these are on the same level as those CZ75s. The dual-wield version does not carry 110% mobility with it. Although I did put the dual-wield higher, I actually prefer the single 5.7 myself because I do prefer to have that accuracy, that sort of precision with the single CZ75, or not the single CZ75, the freaking 5.7. But overall, the dual-wield 5.7 comes with more ammo, and because of that, I feel like objectively it is the better version, and that's why I put it a little bit higher. At number 28, I finally get to expose this freaking overrated weapon that you all are rating way too high in Black Ops 2 Zombies. The M1927. It is a great point weapon to have, but other than that, as a pack-a-punch weapon, this thing is nowhere near as good as the other SMGs. This thing has such a low damage and damage per second that it just cannot touch most of the other SMGs and Black Ops 2 Zombies. Although the ammo is good, that doesn't really mean much when the damage is just going to be about half of what the other SMGs are going to offer, and the ammo for those other SMGs aren't that much lower. While the overall ability of the M1927 is pretty good, there's so many better options out there that are going to be more effective, more efficient, and kill zombies much quicker. Overall, don't really recommend this gun to have in the higher rounds compared to mostly other guns. It's a solid point weapon. I recommend it as a point weapon. Other than that, though, I can't recommend it as a weapon to use in those later rounds. At number 27, we have the M1216. It's a shotgun, fully automatic, similar to that of the Spaz 12. However, it has a rotating barrel that you will have to rotate every 6 shots when upgraded, and it's a little weird, it's a little funky, but overall the weapon is very good. It's very powerful for a shotgun at 3,900 base damage. The only issue I have with the M1216 is that the ammo is just too low. It's kind of a problem because you run out of ammo so quickly, and because of that, you're not able to have this as your primary weapon. You need to make sure that you have something to back you up on this one because you're going to run out of ammo just way too quickly. But you are going to kill zombies at a quick pace as well. At number 26, we have the KSG. According to my research, the KSG is actually the first shotgun in Call of Duty Zombies history to have a headshot multiplier. And it's because it's a slug shotgun. It does about 4,000 damage to the head, which is pretty good. It's going to be a one shot to the head until round 25, where it's going to knock the heads off the zombies. It's a solid weapon. Ammo for a shotgun, it's very good. The only issue I have with it is that its rate of fire is quite slow. I don't recommend this as much in solo as I do in co-op, but it's still a solid weapon to use. You are going to kill a lot of zombies. You're just not going to kill them very quickly. At number 25 and number 24, we have the Python and the Remington New Model Army. The Python and the Remington New Model Army are the same weapon statistically. The only reason I have the Remington a little bit higher is because the unpack punched versions of these weapons, the Remington will reload faster. That is the only difference between these two weapons, and it's the only reason why I'm going to put the Remington higher. These are pistols, high damage, do about 3,000 headshot damage, and the rate of fire is solid. The ammo is all right. It's about 108 ammo, I do believe, and you are going to do a solid amount of damage overall with these weapons, and I think these are solid overall, but I think there's a lot of better weapons that you can use. I think the Python was better suited in Black Ops 1 because there was a lot less effective weapons in that game, and so there was a lot more reason to use the Python in Black Ops 1. But since Black Ops 2 has a lot of better weapons, the Python doesn't find itself in my hands as much in Black Ops 2. So although I do say it is a solid weapon, I just don't think it's as good as a lot of other weapons. So that's why it falls near at number 25 and the Remington at number 24. At number 23, we have the MP40. The MP40 is an improved version in this game in Black Ops 2 compared to the World at War and Black Ops 1 versions of the MP40 because it has more ammo when upgraded. The only issue I have really with the MP40 in this game, and this is just a personal issue with me, is that buying it off the wall is freaking inflation's killing my butt because they make it 1,300 points instead of the 1,000 points for the past 2 games. As a point weapon, I think it's downgraded because of that, because you have to spend more money for essentially the same weapon. But when you upgrade it, it is a little bit better because you are given an extra clip. I still think because of its lower rate of fire, it doesn't compare as greatly to the other SMGs in this game, so that's why I sit here at number 23. At number 22, we have the AK-74U, which is the same thing as the Black Ops 1 AK-74U, just a super balanced SMG that is going to help you in every case in Black Ops 2, whether you're getting points or whether you're trying to kill zombies at a semi-high round. Again, you're not going to see too much out of the AK-74U. It's a solid weapon and it's very effective, but there's a lot of other weapons that will be more useful than it. Our next spot, I believe to be a little bit overrated. At number 21, we have the RPD. People think the RPD is a very high damage LMG. Guys, this is one of the worst damage LMGs you're going to find out there. The RPD does so low damage. When it's pack punched, it's going to be about 540 damage, which is going to be about a one-shot on round 4 or 5. That's terrible. That's not good at all. The redeeming factor of the RPD is that its rate of fire is pretty good, and the ammo is very, very good. The RPD, when it's unupgraded, has a very, very high recoil, but again, when you upgrade it, the recoil sort of stabilizes itself, and it's very nice to use. To me, this is your typical average LMG. All right, now moving on to the top 20. At number 20, you're going to have the Ballista. Now, I was a little bit surprised to put the Ballista this high because I myself am not that big into sniper rifles, but the Ballista does have quite a bit of ammo for a bolt-action sniper rifle, and especially one that you can get off of the wall. It's a very smooth sniper rifle. You're going to be able to get a lot of kills with penetration with the Ballista. I don't think the Ballista's damage is anywhere near that of a regular sniper rifle, but the thing is that the ammo more than makes up for it, and it's why it's this high on the list, because on Origins, you're going to be able to line the zombies up, and you're bound to get plenty of headshot kills with the Ballista. So I do kind of recommend it. It is a solid weapon to use. My only issue is that the rate of fire is very, very low, so you are going to have to wait quite a bit on getting rapid kills with Ballista. At number 19, we are going to have the Uzi, which is the far better SMG on Mob of the Dead compared to the M1927. Even though I do think the M1927 is the better point weapon, the Uzi is the far better weapon in terms of effectiveness and overall efficiency. The Uzi, even though it does not have as much ammo, is given way more damage. It's about almost double the damage, and the DPS of this is extremely high for a wall weapon. It's absurd. So I do recommend the Uzi quite a bit if you are playing Mob of the Dead. I guess my only kind of annoyance with this thing is just how often you have to reload it, because you're only given 25 rounds in a mag. So, and with how fast you're going to shoot the Uzi, you are going to reload very, very often. Number 18, we have the PDW. This is kind of the same in terms of effectiveness as the Uzi, but the PDW is a little bit more efficient, even though the DPS of the Uzi is higher. Basically, would you rather have a better rate of fire, or would you rather have more ammo? If you'd rather have better rate of fire, pick the Uzi. If you'd rather have more ammo, pick the PDW. In my case, ammo is more important, and the PDW is also cheaper off the wall, and it's on more maps. Even though that's not something I really like to go to when it comes to comparing weapons, these are very much on the same tier as each other, so that's why I put the PDW a little bit higher. I do think it is a bit of a better point weapon than the Uzi as well, but overall, in terms of a pack-punch weapon, these are two very, very similar weapons, and you can't go wrong either way. If you put the Uzi higher above the PDW, I'm not going to argue with you. I think you have a very good case there. These are both solid, effective SMGs that are just very nice to have. Number 17, I'm going to put the RPG here. The RPG is very comparable to the M72 Law from Black Ops 1 Zombies. However, this is a faster fire rate rocket launcher with slightly less ammo. There's only 2 less rockets. I believe the damage is a little bit lower, but it's very hard to sort of do research on these rocket launchers because they're so inconsistent. And with the research that I did, it's just, they're so similar. But again, I just don't think it's quite as good as the M72 Law. But it's a solid weapon to use if you're good with explosive weapons and you're very safe with them to where you won't get yourself freaking killed. The RPG is a solid weapon to use, but the only issue is that I have is that with Black Ops 2 Zombies, the maps don't really fit very well with explosive weapons because most of them are very close quarters. There's a lot of opportunities to get yourself killed. You have to find the right training spots. You have to find the right areas to be so that you'll use the explosive weapons as effectively as you can. At number 16, I am going to put the Death Machine here. The Death Machine was a pain in the rear end to try and test because the Death Machine, in terms of its overall statistics, is actually a bit inconclusive because the damage kind of scales. As you move on higher and higher in the rounds, the damage kind of changes. And so because of that, there's no accurate way I can describe the headshot damage for the Death Machine. But it stops one-shotting kind of in the first 5 to 6 rounds. It's a solid weapon, and it has an extremely high amount of ammo. The rate of fire, again, very, very high. You have about 1,250 RPM, I believe. The only issue with the Death Machine is that the mobility is the lowest of any weapon, I believe, in any of the Black Ops Zombies games. It does get a little bit better whenever you pack punch it, but I do not recommend running with this. The Death Machine is exclusive to Mob of the Dead, and I think overall the Death Machine is nice to have if you have a light weapon with you. But I do think that the Death Machine is quite effective if used properly. You just have to be very careful with it. At number 15, I am going to put the Hammer. It was kind of inconclusive with the statistics with the Hammer as well. This and the Death Machine were by far the 2 weapons I had the most trouble with, trying to test them out and everything. I probably played probably about 15 games with the Hammer because it was just that weird of a weapon. It is by far the most inconsistent weapon in Black Ops 2 Zombies. I actually use this on Transit, not really Transit because I don't freaking play Transit, but I used it on Town, and I used it on Nuketown, and then I used it on Buried. And when I used it on Buried, I actually found that on Buried, it's actually more effective than it is on those first couple maps, at least from my perspective and from me using it. I actually found that the statistics were a little bit different. So I was able to one-shot on Nuketown on round 7 to the head with the Hammer pack-punched. So later on down the line, I went and played Buried and pack-punched this thing, and I was one-shotting to the head on round 7. However, on round 8, 9, and 10, at times I was able to one-shot to the head, and it would take the zombies' heads off on those rounds. Sometimes it would one-shot kill them to the head, and there was other times where it just wasn't doing anything at all. So it is by far the most inconsistent weapon in this game, and there's no accurate way for me to describe exactly what the damage is for this weapon, but I will tell you that it is a solid weapon overall. The rate of fire is a little bit lower for the LMG category, but the ammo is extremely high, the reload speed is good, and my only issue is the inconsistency of this weapon. Even the recoil is very inconsistent. This thing unupgraded is horrible with the recoil, just like the RPD. But when you pack-a-punch it, the recoil gets a little bit better. It's still pretty bad, but it does get a little bit better.
I've been told that this weapon is very accurate.
Balls. Overall, it's hard to rank the Hammer because of just how inconsistent it is. It's a good weapon, but just be prepared to use it because it's got just so many weird things about it. Easily one of the weirdest weapons I have ever used in Black Ops Zombies ever. At number 14, I have the AK-47 from Mob of the Dead. My issue with the AK-47 is that the ammo for this thing is too low. But this has the most damage of any fully automatic assault rifle in Black Ops 2 Zombies. The AK-47 does so much damage to the head. When you have double tap, you can one-shot to the head until round 20, where it will take the heads off of the zombies, which is extremely good for an assault rifle. So if you're using the AK-47, just make sure that you are using your ammo wisely, because the damage is extremely good. You're going to take zombies out extremely quickly, but your ammo is also going to go extremely quickly as well. So just be careful when you use the AK-47. At number 13, I have the Scorpion Evo from Origins. This weapon is an extremely effective weapon to have, but again, the ammo you're going to run out very, very quickly because the gun just shoots so quickly. And even though the damage is very, very good for an SMG, you are going to use it so quickly. But this DPS that you're going to get with the Scorpion Evo is absolutely incredible. You're going to have over 20,000 DPS with it, which anything over 12,000 is really, really good. If you have over 20,000, that's just absurd, especially for an SMG. It's box exclusivity, so you're not going to be able to buy ammo off the wall, and it's just such a great weapon to have. One of the things I will say is during my research process, I did find someone who said that the Scorpion Evo has 110% mobility. However, from my research, I do not believe it has 110% mobility. Using this with and without stamina up, I determined very, very quickly that the 110% mobility that someone had put on their post was not correct. I don't agree with it at all. Just make sure you're really careful with the ammo again. At number 12, we have the MTAR. The MTAR, I think, is kind of underrated. A lot of people do not talk about the MTAR, but the ammo's good, the damage is okay, and it's a super stable weapon just overall. The MTAR is a very solid weapon to have. There's nothing super special about it, so if you just want something that's just going to be solid and effective overall with your rate of fire and everything, it does the job very, very well. And it's on pretty much every single map, if not every single map, in Black Ops 2 Zombies. At number 11, we have the STG-44. Everything that I just said about the MTAR, you can pretty much apply to the STG-44, except for it's a wall buy on Origins. It is exclusive to Origins. It's a very nice weapon to have. It is a much improved version compared to the World at War and Black Ops 1 STG. But overall, the ammo is a little bit better. The damage is much improved, and that's why it's just such a much better weapon overall than its previous counterparts, which is why I highly recommend it if you are playing Origins, especially since it's a wall weapon and it's very easy to obtain. You're going to get a lot of use out of this. I highly recommend it. Moving on to the top 10, we are going to start off at number 10 with the M27. The M27 is exclusive to Nuketown. It is in the mystery box, and it is a very, very solid weapon. It's very similar to the Commando from Black Ops 1, except for it has a slight bit more damage. It doesn't have that fast mag attachment that the Commando does have from Black Ops 1, but it is very much on the same level as the Commando. It's a very solid weapon. It's very, very accurate. It's a laser beam of a gun. There's not a lot of bad things I can say about it, and a lot of people love this gun and question why it was not brought back into other maps other than just Nuketown. Number 9, I have the DSR-50, and while I'm not huge on the DSR-50 because it doesn't get a lot of quick kills, it does get a lot of kills because it has great ammo for a sniper rifle, it has great damage, and Black Ops 2 sniping is just very, very easy to do because the sniping in this game is just so smooth and so crisp. So hitting quick scopes and just sniping in general is very, very easy to do, especially with the good hit detection in Black Ops 2. So the DSR-50 is a very useful weapon to have. You won't be able to go through the rounds extremely quickly, but line up the zombies. That'll be your best bet. You'll get a lot of kills with this weapon because it does have a lot of power to it, and it is very, very efficient, especially if you're playing on Town. I think Town is probably the best bet for using the DSR-50. At number 8, we have the LSAT, which is an LMG that you can find on a few of the maps, such as Mob of the Dead, Nuketown, and Buried. Buried, you can find this on the wall. If you do a little jump trick in the spawn room, you can buy this for 2,000 points. And it's a very effective weapon to have. If you remember the BRM from Black Ops 3, these two weapons are very, 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 very similar in terms of their rate of fire, their damage, their whole package, really. I do think that the LSAT is a little bit overrated because I hear a lot of people talk about this in the top 5 category, and I don't think it's quite top 5 worthy, but I do think it is a very, very effective weapon to have. Overall, just a solid LMG. There's nothing really wrong with it. At number 7 is the Executioner. This is a revolver pistol, but in reality, it's a shotgun. It shoots shotgun shells, and it acts like a shotgun. It's very easy to get kills with this thing. It is going to do a lot of damage for you. Even though it doesn't have a headshot multiplier, it's going to be very, very effective for a very long time, and I do recommend using this to get zombies out of the way very quickly. It's better than every shotgun by a country mile. If you are new to Black Ops 2 zombies, this is a very good weapon for you because this is going to be extremely easy to just put in your hands and immediately just kill a lot of zombies with. While I do think that there is a couple flaws to the Executioner, such as like the reload speed and the range, overall it's a solid weapon to have, and I do highly recommend this. At number 6, we are going to have the Galil. The Galil is a very balanced and stable assault rifle that is good in pretty much every area. It has lots of ammo, it has good damage. There's nothing really wrong with the Galil. There's just a few better weapons than it, especially in the assault rifle category, and the Galil, I think, in terms of efficiency, is extremely good, but I just think there's a couple weapons that are just tiny, just a tiny bit better. So we'll go ahead and get into those weapons at number 5. Going into the top 5, at number 5, we have the Scar H. The Scar and the Galil are extremely similar in terms of their damage per second, in terms of their overall effectiveness and efficiency. I really enjoy the Scar H, but in reality, the only reason I put it ahead of the Galil is because it takes out Panzers so well in Origins. If it didn't take out Panzers as well, I probably would put the Galil ahead of the Scar. Again, these are just kind of on the same level as each other. However, with these two assault rifles, even though they're as good as they are, there is still one assault rifle that is a little bit better, and that is our number 4 spot, which is the AN-94. The AN-94 is an extremely effective weapon. It is a wall weapon that you can obtain on Die Rise and Buried. It is only on those 2 maps, but getting that is just a no-brainer because you just get so much ammo with the AN-94. Even though the DPS and the rate of fire overall and the damage is not as high as the other 2 weapons, it is just got so much ammo and it's so easy to obtain that I just have to put it ahead of these other 2 weapons. It is an extremely effective weapon, and I highly recommend using it on those 2 maps. The AN-94 is used by a lot of people, and it could be used as a point weapon, it could be used as a high round weapon. There are so many things that you can do with the AN-94. It is one of the best assault rifles that you could have in zombies, period. Getting on to the top 3. At number 3, we have the MG08. The fact that people say that the MG08 and the LSAT are the same statistically is just such a huge myth, and I'm going to go ahead and squash that right now. The MG08 reloads faster. The MG08's headshot damage is far better, and the MG08 has a ricochet effect that the LSAT does not. The MG08 is the far more effective weapon, and it's not close. The MG08 is exclusive to Origins, and it's a very, very effective weapon to have. You're given a lot of ammo, you're given a good overall amount of damage. It's a fantastic weapon to use. It does have a slightly bit less mobility, but I think the overall effectiveness makes up for that plenty. At number 2, I'm going to go ahead and put the Mustang and Sally here. There are some people that would argue that Mustang and Sally could be the number 1 spot, and you do have an argument there. But my main issue with the Mustang and Sally is that the way that Black Ops 2 is formatted, the Mustang and Sally doesn't fit the game nearly as well as it did in Black Ops 1. Explosives just in general fit that game so well. There's plenty of room on Black Ops 1 zombies. Black Ops 2 is very close quarters, and so because of that, the Mustang and Sally, plenty of opportunities to get yourself killed. There's not as much room to use it, and because of that, it's not as effective as I find as it is in Black Ops 1. However, in terms of its statistically, it is the same as Black Ops 1's Mustang and Sally, and overall, it's still a fine weapon to use, but I think there's one weapon that is just slightly better than the Mustang and Sally, and slightly easier to use as well. At our number 1 spot on this list, I have the SVU. The SVU is a wall weapon on Die Rise and Buried. It is a semi-automatic sniper rifle, and it does a lot of damage and shoots quite fast for a sniper rifle. This has an absurd amount of ammo and an absurd amount of damage. You are going to get so many kills with the SVU. It is absolutely absurd that this is a wall weapon. For 1,000 points, you can get this off the wall, which is ridiculous. It is, in my opinion, the best weapon in this game, and I've heard so many people agree with this. I've heard a lot of people talk about how much they love the SVU, and this weapon is just, it's way too good. This is, in my opinion, the best weapon. You can probably argue for a couple others. You can argue for the Mustang and Sally. If the Boomhilda was available for this list, I would have put the Boomhilda at number 1 because I do think it's better than both this and the Mustang and Sally. While I'm into it, I might as well get into the Boomhilda as well as the ballistic knife. Since they were banned weapons, the ballistic knife, again, I'll go over that like I did in Black Ops 1. It will revive teammates in co-op games, but in solo, it doesn't really do much other than its melee damage. So I don't really recommend the ballistic knife. It would have been a bottom 5 spot. The Boomhilda, however, is an extremely effective weapon that can be used for a very, very long time, and it's extremely effective on the Panzers in Origins, and it's exclusive to Origins. But its capabilities are off the charts. It is an extremely effective weapon, and I highly recommend using it in every game that you play on Origins. There is no reason to not use it. All right, guys, thank you for watching this list. This has been an extremely, extremely hard video to make. I do appreciate the support continuously. I did consider making a Black Ops 3 version of this sort of criteria of this list, but I want to know your guys' opinions on what you want next, if you would rather me just go straight to Black Ops 4, or if you're happy with the Black Ops 3 video that is already out, or if you want another one for this specific criteria and for this series. If that's the case, I will do that, but I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Thanks for watching the video. I'll talk to you all later. See ya.